you are the weirdest therapist I've ever had, right? Like where you can't literally breathe, like it's not possible to breathe. It gave me permission to feel anxious and move forward. Hard to describe, right?
Uh-huh.
You're racing
Yeah.
thoughts, but you're frozen all at one time. So again, it's not minimizing that loss. It's not ignoring the loss. It's acknowledging the loss and then focusing on what I do have.
We can't shame ourselves for being human.
Consider our feelings are valid.
Hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity with your podcast host, Keegan, and this is your podcast for all mental health, addiction, recovery issues, and topics. And I've got a question for you. Do you ever feel like you're losing sight of something? Well, I have a very special guest today, and her name is Laura Bratton. She is an extraordinary spirit, and her life took a massive turn when she began losing her sight as a teenager. But instead of being halted, she actually transformed this monumental challenge into a foundation built on two powerful pillars known as grit and gratitude. So her story isn't just about overcoming such an obstacle, it is about navigating and changing life into something that is truly infectious with happiness. So Laura, how are you doing today?
Great. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. Thank you for being on the show. And might I say, like, it is just crazy that we're able to have conversations like this, right?
It's such a gift.
Whenever we have these kind of conversations, we always have to say that it sucks that we went through whatever we went through, right?
Yes. 100%.
Can you tell us what was it that you went through and how did you get through just the other side? Because I personally cannot imagine my life without sight. It is one of those things that I can't fathom it, you know?
Yes. And there's no way you can until you experience it.
Mm.
So at the age of 9, I was diagnosed with an extremely rare eye disease.
Mm.
But at that time, I still had full sight. And so in my 9-year-old brain, I thought, well, I can see now. So isn't that what the life is always going to be like? So the news obviously hit and affected my parents. And they knew the reality of what was coming. But still, as that 9-year-old, I was oblivious. I was like, well, I'm doing dance and basketball and everything now. Like, this is great. Life is good. Fast forward to high school. In those 4 years of high school, that's when I lost all of my sight.
Ooh.
So it wasn't one day I woke up and went from like full sight to no sight or, had some dramatic change overnight.
No.
But it was a quick, rapid decline literally over those 4 years. So I would lose a significant amount of sight and then it would plateau for a little while. And then I'd lose a significant amount of sight and then it would plateau. So by the end of high school, by the time I graduated, I had only what I have now, just very limited light perception. So basically no vision.
Yeah. Ouch. Real quick, what was that disease called?
So 30 years later, it still does not have a name. It's so rare. It's just certain genes in my body mutated to cause blindness.
What?
So it's not hereditary. It wasn't from some other injury or illness. It wasn't like a cancer or it wasn't any kind of other trigger. So it's extremely, extremely rare. We're still currently working on the cause.
Oh man. I'm not trying to sidetrack anything. I'm just curious, like, are you actually like in a study to help find a cure for that or anything?
Yes.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm in a lot of those actually. Well, not a lot, but several. Yeah, that ongoing studies are going on to try to figure out which gene, is there any gene therapy available? Is there any optic nerve? Because believe it or not, my optic nerve functions perfectly. It's just my retina receiving the information from my optic nerve.
Whoa.
So, so there's a lot going on. So, yes, they definitely in those studies to try to help myself and also just not people with this specific situation because it's so rare, but just in general, just other rare eye diseases.
That's really astounding that you're doing this kind of thing because, I mean, you're not sitting there and just getting hit with life and then just sitting on the couch being like, all right, I guess it happened, so here we are, gonna let it just happen. You're actually actively trying to do something about it, and you're helping others at the same time. That's a rare gift.
Yes. And actually, this week, literally, we should know more from some recent testing I did, and hopefully that information will be able to be published for other doctors and scientists
Huh.
to use and learn from in the future.
Ooh, that's awesome. Is there anything out of this testing that you've done that's kind of given you any insight into anything that you've had questions about this whole time?
Not yet, because there's still so much unknown. There's
Gotcha.
not enough of the puzzle together yet, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. It still is
Yeah.
so completely unknown.
Uh-huh.
It's not even to the point where even ask questions. So it's
Uh.
still a lot to be discovered.
Yeah. I mean, that's really it's got to be scary but also so intriguing at the same time, because if you've got an inquisitive mind like myself, I would be asking, well, why? Why? Just like there's got to be something like
There's got to
there.
be a reason.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And what do we just again that just kind of what you're saying, that inquisitive mind of there is a gene. I know there is in my body. Like, which gene is it? It's
Uh-huh.
just that for all of us, just that unknown. There's so
Mhm.
much uncertainty there. So yes, hopefully a lot of that will become
Mhm.
clear in the future. And that's the gift of technology.
Mhm.
This is only possible in these recent years because of technology advancing so quickly.
Mhm. Yeah, the medical tech side of things has gotten crazy cool. Like, I just spoke with someone that is trying to help people with depression and other degenerative diseases with infrared light by shining brain light. Like, I was like, what? How are you shining light on the brain? But it's
Oh,
infrared light.
wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That makes total sense to me.
Yeah, it was super cool talking about it, but it made me realize that depression and other things like that are not what we really quite think they are.
Right.
So, can you tell us what is it that your condition or the conditions that you've dealt with, what are they like for yourself, and what are some things that you've learned along your journey to kind of help others along the way?
So I want to talk about my initial emotional reaction, and that'll
Oh,
make it
yeah.
clear why I'm getting to that point where I'm telling that backstory. So my initial reaction when I was in those high school years, the first reaction was denial. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
this is not happening. This is not lasting forever. It's not permanent. Trying to convince myself it wasn't reality.
Mm-hmm.
Once the denial wore off, that's when the grief process started. And the
Mm.
grief manifested in intense anxiety and intense depression
Ouch.
because I knew what I was constantly losing. I knew how easy life was with sight.
Mm-hmm.
So, constantly having to figure out, how do I deal with that anxiety and depression and grief while still moving forward? As
Mm-hmm.
you said, like, I'm not just going to sit on the couch and just give up in life and just throw up my hands and say, oh, well, it happened. Right.
Yeah.
But just to keep going and to
Mhm,
move forward, I had to have resources that allowed me to work through the anxiety, work through the depression, because
yeah.
it was so overwhelming. It felt like life was over. It felt
Mhm,
like this was going to swallow the anxiety and depression were going to swallow me forever.
yeah.
And there was no end. There was no hope. There was no purpose.
Mm,
Why am I even here? There's no meaning anymore.
mhm,
All those typical questions that come up.
yeah.
So it was the gift of community. It was the support around me that empowered me to move through the anxiety
Mm,
and through the depression. So when I did not believe in myself and when I wanted to give in to the anxiety and the depression, it was those around me who just continued to believe in me.
mhm,
And I want to give a few examples of what it looked like, how it actually happened practically, physically in my life. So every single day, as I was overwhelmed, my parents would remind me, Laura, yes, the future's scary and fearful and overwhelming. All we have to focus on is today.
yeah.
And so I learned that being present and being mindful, that's all I need to do. I don't have to be so anxious about the future
Mm-hmm.
when it might not even happen the way I'm anxious about it. All I have to do is focus on the now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when through that living in the present, that's when I got connected and did a lot of work in mindfulness and learned about mindfulness and took courses in it. And that gave me, I'm sharing that to say it gave me so much healing and power from the anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's what it did. It didn't make the anxiety magically go away and everything was rosy and happy and perfect. I got my vision back, right? Like I didn't wake up one day and say, oh, wow, anxiety's gone, but I'm still fine. It's okay, world, right? What it did was it taught me how to control the anxiety.
Ooh.
It taught me that the anxiety is there and I have every reason to be anxious. I'm going blind. Yet it showed me the anxiety is not controlling me. I have the
Ooh.
control and the power over it.
Oh, okay.
And so what I mean by that practically is when I was in that deep state of panic, I would literally just stop and say, okay, can I breathe now? Yes. So let me just focus on my breath and get my breath under control and just sit here for a minute and then move forward in the day rather than say, oh, I'm anxious. Oh no, I'm anxious again. I'm anxious again. I can't be anxious again. And try to not feel what I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's why I say mindfulness was such an incredible healing resource because it allowed me to feel what I'm feeling, sit with it, and then choose to continue forward life.
Mm-hmm. I love that. You're actually saying that you're controlling the anxiety, right?
Yeah. Yes. And again, that's not a magical trick. Oh, I'm in control of anxiety, so it goes away, right?
Yeah.
I don't all want to make it sound like I just was mindful and the anxiety went away.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I am saying is it gave me agency. Mindfulness gave me agency to say, what am I going to do about this anxious?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm anxious. What am I going to do about it? Am I going to give into it and let it totally overwhelm me and just be anxious forever? Or am I going to say, yes, I'm anxious, and I choose to move forward even with anxiety, even in the midst of panic?
I love that. And I know how anxiety can be because I've sat there and have been in the ER because of panic attacks before, and they really suck. And I've never thought about choosing what to be anxious over because it was always just either one thing that was like monumental, a challenge kind of thing, or it was too much of everything. But I've never thought about being the master of my anxiety.
Yes. And that gives us so much power, and not power like dominance, like power over. It's just power with that power of, I do have control over this.
Yeah, power with, not power over. I love that because you're working with yourself. You're not trying to tell yourself that you shouldn't be feeling a way. You're saying
100%.
You're saying it's okay to envelop this feeling and direct it where I think it should be going instead of having it tell me where it wants to go.
100%. And that's exactly what happened to me one day when I was working with a therapist. She said, Laura, I want you to go home, and the next time you feel like a panic attack is coming on, just sit down on the couch and for 5 minutes turn towards the anxiety and then get up and continue on with your day. And I looked at her like, you are the weirdest therapist I've ever had. Right? Like, I don't think that's good advice. Like, that's just not, I know that's terrible advice. I don't like that.
Yeah.
So just out of my stubbornness, then when I went home and the next time I had a deep anxiety panic attack, that's what I did. And what I found was it worked. Turning towards the panic. Again, that feeling in your chest where you can't get your next breath.
Yeah.
Where you can't literally breathe. Like the air's not, it's not possible to breathe. It's just and your mind's just kind of frozen and that is racing, but it's frozen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to describe, right? You're racing
Yeah.
thoughts, but you're frozen all at one time.
Mm-hmm.
When I actually did turn towards it and sat there for 5 minutes, it decreased. I was
Mm.
able to breathe. And that's what gave me control to say, okay, yes, I'm feeling incredibly anxious. So I'm going to get up and go get some water, walk outside, feel the fresh air, and then make that phone call I need to make, or send that
Mm-hmm.
email I need to send,
Yeah.
or read that paper I need to read. So it's that power with.
Power with is more like collaboration with
Yes,
yourself
100%.
instead of sitting there and either compromising or choosing to lose, per se. And whenever it comes to anxiety, you're right. It is kind of like it's hard to describe that panic of sorts because it's overwhelming. It really is. Definitely something that can be scary to try to face head on.
Yes.
So, whenever we're facing these difficult emotions, how did you like? You already had your world essentially start to fall apart.
Right.
So, do you think that that kind of gave you like that, let's say, gusto to take that step into anxiety whenever that panic attack started coming on?
Yes. So it gave uh, through another conversation, I want to share another brief conversation I
Uh huh.
had that gave me exactly what you're sharing. It gave me that gusto to basically approach the anxiety, right? Like, not to be scared of it, not to
Uh huh.
be intimidated by it.
Yeah.
So right before I started college, about a week before I started, I was in one of my administrator's office, and at the end of the conversation, she said, "Laura, right before you leave, I just want to tell you something real quick." And I said, "Okay." And I thought she was going to like tell me about the weather forecast for the next day or something, just, I
Yeah.
don't know, something I didn't really need to pay attention to. And she said, "Laura, I just want to let you know that you think grieving should be over. You think by this point, you've had 4 years in high school, 4 years to grieve your blindness. You should be done, and now you should move forward. I want to give you permission that you can do both. You can grieve and you can move forward. Grieving is not a weakness. Grieving does not mean you have not accepted your blindness. Grieving does not mean you're less as a person. It just means it's a real part of your experience.
Mm.
So I want to give you permission to grieve as you move forward." And the
Wow.
reason I share that conversation is that that answers your question. And that was the whole reason by her saying that.
Huh.
It gave me permission to be with my anxiety
Mm.
rather than shaming myself. "Oh, I shouldn't be anxious by now. I should be
Mm-mm.
over this by now." Rather than
Yeah.
putting myself down for feeling anxious,
Mm-hmm.
it gave me permission to feel anxious and move forward.
Ooh.
So they're not like separate boxes I
Mm-hmm.
have to check.
Yeah.
And as a type A person, I like my goals and boxes, and I like checking things off the list. So I wanted to check anxiety off the list. I wanted to check grief off the list. And then I thought I could move forward.
Mm-hmm.
But she was giving me permission. It's okay to be anxious. That's not a weakness.
Yeah.
You can feel anxious and do something about it as you move forward.
Ooh, that is some profound stuff right there because it's essentially giving yourself that permission, like you said, to have two truths at once. And that can be really difficult. I'm so glad that she was able to sit there and say that to you. And I'm really glad that you did pay attention because it sounds like that was exactly what you needed to take that next step. And without it, would we be here?
Probably not. Because again, I would have spiraled in that shame,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't have
Mhm.
had the confidence to move forward.
Yeah. I want to ask a question that kind of jumps back to the high school era whenever the site started to go away. Do you think that did you have increasing levels of stress as you were going into high school, like the next grade and everything? And then do you think stress was a big factor on that
You
um
mean stress being a factor in the anxiety?
or the stress being a factor in you losing your sight, stress being a factor in everything?
Definitely in the grief. not so much in the physical, like, deterioration of my eyes. There was already so much deterioration. So I'm not going to explain it correctly because I'm not a doctor, but in my very simple way, basically there was so much of our retina already deteriorated that what I was experiencing in college was almost like my eyes catching up to what had deteriorated.
Oh.
Again, that's not don't quote me. That's not like a scientific way, but that's my simple way of, yes, absolutely. Stress played a major factor in the anxiety, the depression, the grief process. But as far as the physical illness, that was already happening before the stress hit.
Okay. And I just kind of wanted to ask that because stress is one of those things that we kind of decide to put on ourselves, and it just kind of amplifies all the really crappy emotions.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So
100%. I completely agree.
And whenever we're dealing with these kind of overwhelming emotions, we really do have to give ourselves permission to feel them, but we don't really tend to do that in our normal day-to-day, or that's not really how we're raised to kind of go about, right? We're not allowed to feel.
It's more just like, and that's how I defined grit for so long. I thought grit of just don't feel, push through, be strong, get over it, move on, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly how I define grit.
Yeah.
The way that I define it now and how I work with people is grit is acknowledging the difficulty, is acknowledging the adversity, and then choosing to move forward. So it's validating what we're feeling and then choosing to move forward.
Oh, I love that. So that kind of would go along hand in hand with like what bravery is, right? Like you have
100%. That's how I define bravery and courage. Yes.
Yeah. You have to acknowledge what situation you're going in scares you and do it anyways. So grit, you're saying essentially the same thing, but you know that it's a really bad situation, or you know it's going to be really tough, and you just go and do it.
And you just choose anyway.
Yeah.
Because that's so much of our life, right?
Yeah. And you're choosing to do it. You're not letting it happen to you.
Right. Again, that power wit. You're choosing to work with it rather than it being over you.
Yeah. And what has been one of the things that's really made itself apparent whenever you started working with that power within yourself and not so much letting all these weird emotions kind of control you instead?
The emotions are not as powerful as I thought they were.
Ooh.
So again, what I mean by that is I thought let's take either one, the anxiety or the depression, but just say the anxiety. I thought I was totally powerless over it. It was going to swallow me whole and I would be anxious and fearful for the rest of my life, like every single day, right? Like live in that state of panic. I didn't realize when I worked with it, when I acknowledged it, when I validated, that's actually normal to be anxious when you're one blind, right? Like that's not a rare thing. I realized I do have control over what I do with anxiety. So the biggest thing I would say I realized is knowing that I have control with the emotions. Again, I don't want to make it sound like I have control so they just magically went away. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying I can better manage the anxiety and depression.
Yeah, and being able to better manage it makes sure that it doesn't manage you. But whenever we're sitting here and we're having this agency over those kind of feelings, what is something that you choose to be anxious about instead of having it choose for you?
So I don't focus on what I am going to be anxious about. I allow myself to feel that anxiety and say, okay, that's where mindfulness comes in. Okay, is that really reality? Is that really going to happen? So just mentally walking myself through the process. Is that a real outcome? Right? Like, or just creating something to be anxious about. right? So rather than thinking, okay, I can be anxious about this, just thinking about, okay, maybe I am anxious about that and just is what it is, rather than trying to get
Mhm.
rid of the anxiety.
Yeah. Okay. So just acknowledging it and not trying to shame yourself into not feeling it. I got it. So one of the things that you had mentioned was it's okay to feel anxious about what you're going through because I mean, whenever you're going blind, I'm pretty sure someone should feel anxious if they're feeling excited about it. That's kind of weird, you
That's
know?
that's that's unusual, right?
Yeah. But whenever we're experiencing maybe these really heavy emotions, a lot of the time we do kind of feel alone in them, right?
Yes.
So, how do you help people through understanding that they're not alone in feeling those heavy emotions?
So that's where in my work of coaching, that's where the one-on-one work comes in on it's holding the space. So
Mm,
in trauma work and chaplaincy work and any type of work that works with deep, heavy emotions, it's called holding the space. And what that
mm,
means is literally when someone is expressing the anxiety or the depression, not immediately jumping to the fixed place,
mm,
but first taking the time to hear the person and validate what they're feeling so that they realize, yes, this feels so alone, and I'm not alone. Other
yeah,
people experience this emotion. So it's all about giving the person space to feel and say out loud what they're feeling and then not rushing into, all right, well, let's do this about it. Let's do step 1, 2, and 3, but just sitting in that space, just sitting in that
mm,
silence of just acknowledging, yeah, you're feeling that anxiety. And that's really, really hard. Or those tears won't stop and you're really, really sad.
mm,
It's not that I understand the sadness or understand exactly their situation, but it's
mm.
that I'm compassionate, not suffering with, being with the person in their emotions.
I mean, you're helping people acknowledge it within themselves. So you're helping them acknowledge it from the outside, which helps them acknowledge it on the inside, which can be the real difficult battle.
Right. That's a really, really hard battle. Is yes,
Mhm.
acknowledging it within yourself and just sitting there. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then trying to not shame yourself into not feeling bad in the
Right.
first place.
Right. That is really, really hard. Yes.
Hmm.
That is the hard work.
Yeah. Real quick, where can people find you for getting your coaching expertise?
The best place is my website.
Okay.
laurabratton.com has all the information about speaking, coaching, book. It's all there.
Okay. Awesome. I just put that up on the screen for everyone at home that's watching. And real quick, what's your book about?
So Harnessing Courage is all about my life story of adjusting to life without sight. The purpose, the reason I wrote the book was to be a resource for anyone going through major loss, major change, major difficulty, to learn these two resources of grit and of gratitude. So I'm
Mm,
very clear. I'm not saying do these 1, 2, 3 steps and you'll live happy ever after, right? Your anxiety will magically go away. Your difficulty will just vanish.
mm,
Rather, it's a resource to say, as you go through difficulty,
mm.
here's what helped me. So hopefully it will help empower you.
Thank you for putting that out there into the world. And thank you for just being an amazing coach with all these things that you do for everyone. Because, I mean, I think the best kind of coach or the best kind of leader or anything like that is someone that's been through the thick of it themselves because you know all the ins and outs of going blind where or I mean anything on that end of the spectrum kind of thing, you know.
Difficult. Yeah. And that's one thing I remind every single person that I work with. I still
Hmm.
use these resources every single day.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm adjusted, but I'm still a person without sight in the sighted world. So
Hmm.
when I'm coaching someone, I always remind them, remember what I'm telling you to do, I'm doing myself every day, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm through the initial trauma,
Huh.
yet I still need these resources all the time, constantly. It's still a mindset to
Hmm.
live by. So I
Yeah.
make that very clear in working with people. It's not, I'm saying, I did this once, right? It's like, I do it every single day, right? Like, I have to have it.
Yeah.
It's just my mental wellness.
Yeah, I was just about to say, so it's kind of like your mental hygiene, right? Like if you stop doing it,
100%.
it's going to catch up real fast.
I always use an analogy of like brushing your teeth, right? Like,
Yeah.
just as we do that, that's just a constant part of our hygiene. Mindfulness, gratitude, exercise, being out in nature, that just has to be a part of my mental hygiene. And if it's not, that's when the anxiety, the depression does have control over me. If I'm not taking care of myself mentally.
Yeah. Yeah, and it can be really hard to pull ourselves out of a little pit whenever we find ourselves in there again after we've done so well for ourselves
Yes.
after a little while.
Yes, because then you start to think, but I was doing so good for so long. How'd I get here?
Yeah.
So it's that whole shame thing. Why am I here? Who am I?
It goes right back to shame, like we can't shame ourselves for being human. We can't shame ourselves for feeling.
For feeling. Right. Because our feelings are valid.
Yeah.
And just again, what a mentor helped me understand. What would you say to your best friend when she calls you and, has all these emotions? Would you shame her for feeling those? And I said, absolutely not. I would just support her and be with her and just, again, hold that space for her. And she said, well, then offer that same compassion to yourself. And I was like, okay, I might can do that.
Yeah.
So if I wouldn't shame my best friend, don't shame myself. Oh, okay.
It's kind of hard not to shame ourselves though, right? Because isn't that kind of how we're taught? Like we should be a certain way, we shouldn't act a certain way, we shouldn't feel a certain way.
Yes.
And if we're going to be hard on ourselves, like we're only doing it to better ourselves, right?
Right. 100%.
But does being hard on ourselves really work all that well?
Does it really make us a better person, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it really does. It just beat me into the ground and turned me into a bitter person. And that bitter person just made a lot of other people's lives miserable for an extended period of time.
Right. I agree with that. Yes.
Yeah. One of the things that you said that you got permission to feel again, or maybe all the way through, was grief. So do you still manage your grief? Like, does it still pop up every now and again? Because I imagine that it would for myself. But like you said, it's a decided world. I don't know.
Yes, 100%. So it's not that intense grief that we normally think of when we think of grief, of just that in kind of numbness. The whole world just kind of freezes. You can't really remember what day it is or what I should be doing. It's not obviously that intense grief, but it is just that constant sadness of just that disappointment of like, oh gosh, I wish I could still do that. Or I wish, I had that experience. So just now, I'm like here in the mountains right now, just with all the beautiful weather, it's just like, oh man, I so wish I could see that again.
Yeah.
And so that's when what you said, two truths at one time, giving myself the space to feel that loss. And then at the same time to say, I'm grateful that I can at least be outside and feel and experience and hear what I can. So again, it's not minimizing that loss. It's not ignoring the loss. It's acknowledging the loss and then focusing on what I do have.
Yeah. Flipping it, right?
Right. That's my mindset. That's that mental hygiene that I have to have every day.
You mentioned being out in nature yourself at one point. So is that something that you do when you're in nature to kind of recreate what the scene would look like? Do you do that in your head?
Yes. So because I had vision for so long, for example, when I'm out on a hike or at the beach, I'm visualizing what I remember. So if I'm on a hike and, we're walking up a huge hill, that's what I'm visualizing, what I remember. Where there's a huge oak tree or red tree or whatever. I'm visualizing that because I had so much time with sight.
Okay. So you can almost put yourself into like happy nostalgia really quick too, can't you? Whenever you're out
Yes.
on those experiences?
Yes.
Huh.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
On that end, is nostalgia a dangerous thing whenever it kind of comes into that regard?
So the way I'm glad you said that. It's making me think about it. The way that I would describe it, rather than nostalgia, I would just I'm visualizing what's being described to me. I'm not jumping back to, oh, I remember on a hike when I was 14 and saw a tree. So it's not going back to memories, remembering when. It's just as the person is describing what is there, I'm instantly visualizing it in my head. Does that make sense? So it's not that I'm going back, recreating, thinking about a memory of when I was at place A and saw place A tree, you know? So I'm not going back creating a memory. It's just as it's being described to me, you know, oh, there's a huge rattlesnake, you know? I'm just thinking about a rattlesnake. So it's just creating that visual map in my head as it's being described.
Oh, okay. So you get to sit there and kind of create your world as you're essentially experiencing it, you
Right.
know?
Right. 100%.
Actually really cool whenever you think about it that way, because this way the world looks however you want it to look like.
Right. Yeah. And that's the balance. The loss is I would much rather see it as it actually is to have that gift, because that's so much easier.
Yeah.
But that's again where the grit and gratitude comes in of, okay, but what I can do about this is create that visual map the best I can.
Yeah. One of the things that I've always kind of wondered is whenever we're sitting here and we lose most of a sense, part of our bodies will sit there and amplify another sense. Or so I've been told and read, but is that the case for you? Did you find out that you actually have way better hearing than you used to?
So it's not that it's better, it's that I'm more in tune.
Ooh.
So think about where you're depending on 5 senses, I'm depending on 4. So you don't have to focus on each sense as much as I do because you have more to spread out the senses. So it's that I'm more in tune to my hearing. It's not that the hearing got better. And the sense that did definitely increase was, and again, maybe it's just because I was forced to be in tune to it, was that intuition.
Ooh.
My intuition is so much better and stronger. Again, it probably was always there at the same level, but I just have to depend on it so much more.
Ooh, okay. I love that you brought up intuition, because that is something that a lot of us kind of shame ourselves out of.
Right. It's 100%.
How did you step into your intuition? I mean, it feels like you kind of weren't given an option.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wish I had some beautiful story, but it happened and I didn't even realize it was happening. So, for example, I just slowly realized I can sense from people their emotions. I can walk into a room and sense, whoa, there's a lot of tension in here. Like, this is not a happy place. Or walk in and go, oh, this is really joyful. And I didn't even try to focus on that. I didn't make that my goal. Again, what you said, it just happened out of survival. Because I can't read people's body language, I was just forced to focus on the energy.
Yeah. That's a really interesting way to look at it too, because I've heard that empaths it's quote unquote not a thing, and other people say it's just a survival mechanism. And here you are saying that intuition is kind of a survival mechanism.
Yes.
So
yeah, it 100% is.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that you had that experience with your sight to kind of like give you heads up on what your intuition was kind of telling you whenever it started screaming a little bit louder, right?
Definitely. But yeah, you're right. It started screaming really loud without sight. And again, I didn't even try to tap into it. It just, I would just oh, wow, that person's really angry, and I was like, oh my gosh, how'd you know? You can't see them. It's just the aura. It's just the energy.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah. Well, I imagine whenever people speak to you or at you, it feels different, or whenever people just, because
Yes.
they say it's not in what you say, it's in how you say it. And I'm sure you
100%
can.
my experience. That is 100% my experience. So I'm like, whoa, that tone was off. Like they were saying happy things, but that tone didn't sound happy, right?
Uh-huh.
So yes, 100% in how it's said, not just the words.
Huh. Oh, are you able to do the party trick of being a human lie detector?
Actually, I can do that pretty well, especially when I have some reference to knowing people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it is funny. My close friends will be like, "Hey, Laura, so what do you think? give us your insight." And again, it's not something I try to do. Like I never walk into a conversation and say, "Oh, I'm going to analyze this person's energy," right? Like it's never something I focus on doing. It's just something I instantly say, oh, they're angry. Oh, they're sad. Oh, they're joyful. Oh, they're grounded. It just instantly happens.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you were able to have that kind of experience, because intuition is one of those things I wish everyone could experience a little bit more.
Tap into. Yes.
Yeah. But we just kind of got to relax, trust ourselves a little bit, and kind of maybe go with the flow a little bit, man.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. 100%.
We are getting near the end of this episode, but before any of that stuff, this has been an awesome conversation, and I would love to have you back on in the future to dive more into what it's like to work with resilience and grit as defined by Laura Bratton, and be able to actually see what we're able to kind of get a glimpse of with your world and your coaching a little bit more, because maybe this on the next episode we can have some actual questions from people that have some questions themselves.
Yes, I would absolutely love that. For as I've been talking for people, the questions that you thought of, please send them in. And yes, I would absolutely love to follow up, and also to do another episode focused on gratitude.
Yeah.
And how I've learned to use gratitude in adversity in our mental wellness. So yes, please send in your questions.
Awesome.
That we can answer.
Sweet. So, Laura, thank you for that. So, everyone out there and Laura, we are going to play the Gratitude Gauntlet. I'm going to give Laura a common, slightly frustrating or difficult life gauntlet or a life scenario, such as a forgotten umbrella while it's raining outside, and her task is to respond with the grit action that she would take to handle it, and the gratitude statement afterwards to give us the positive reframe to maintain the happy-go-lucky attitude. So, Laura, are you ready to play the life gauntlet?
I'm ready. Let's see how I do.
All right. So, up first, life gauntlet. You spill a full cup of coffee all over your freshly cleaned shirt 5 minutes before a big meeting.
So my first reaction as far as grit is acknowledge the frustration and aggravation. I don't have time for this, right? Like this was not in the plan on my brand new perfect shirt, right? So again, validate that frustration. And then take the action, say, okay, I literally have 5 minutes. What's the next thing I need to do? Go get paper towels to clean up. Go in the bedroom, get another shirt. Do the next action rather than saying, only have 5 minutes. This is never going to work. Just focus on what can I do in that 5 minutes.
Gotcha. And what would be the gratitude statement to keep the positive mindset?
The gratitude would be after that 5 minutes and I'm sitting in the meeting, I'm thankful that I'm here. I'm thankful that I made it, right? Like I'm here, right? Maybe coffee stains and all, I'm here.
Yep. Grateful you just got a meeting to go to in the first place.
Exactly.
All right. Life gauntlet number 2. Your Uber gets stuck in an hour-long traffic jam on a day you are already running late.
Again, the grit is acknowledge that you want to be mad at the Uber driver, right? Like somehow it's the Uber driver's fault, even though you know it's not. Just be mad. Let's say it's Atlanta traffic, right? Just be mad if the traffic, because then the whole goal is acknowledge the reality of what we're thinking, and then what can we do about it? Can you call where you are supposed to be and let them know? Even I've literally done this in real time. Take a picture of the traffic and send it to the person and say, this is where I'm stuck. Can't make the meeting on time. We'll keep you updated on my ETA. Yeah. So again, what can we control in that situation rather than just yelling at our Uber driver? And the gratitude would be, I'm just grateful that I'm safe. Yeah, it's frustrating I'm late, but the good news is I'm safe.
Yeah.
I might not get there on time, but I'm safe in this traffic.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. And Life Gauntlet number 3. A project you put your heart into gets rejected or significantly cut back at work.
Feel the heartbreak. Absolutely. And I felt the heartbreak as you said it. Like, this is a disappointment. Because it's obviously something you worked really hard on and put a lot of energy and effort into. So this is the grief. Feel that loss. Feel the letdown of, I put so much into this. It's kind of like that adrenaline rush comes off once we get the negative, right? So feel that and say, okay, who can I contact? Who would either get me towards accepting this project, or what's another company that I can be focused on? What can I do to move forward so I don't stay, the object is not staying stuck with the disappointment and just giving up. Oh, well, I just don't have these gifts like I thought I did. Rather than saying, okay, who else needs and can use these gifts? And then the gratitude would be grateful for the next opportunity that opens up.
Ooh, okay.
That project was rejected. That's obviously not what we did want. So we're going to be even more grateful for the next opportunity that opens up.
Ooh, okay. I love that. And number 4, you realize you've been working on a computer file for an hour and it didn't save as the computer program crashed.
Been there, done that, real world experience. So again, I was so angry. Let yourself acknowledge that anger, right? Like, and let yourself say, I don't have time for this, right? So feel that anger, feel that, oh my gosh, are you serious? I don't even remember the information I just put into the computer. Feel that information. And then for me, I wish I had done this, walk away and say, okay, in an hour or tomorrow or the next day, I'll try this again. Because what I did, and this is real time, I felt angry and then said, well, I'm just going to do this all over again quickly. And that stubbornness, anger, I didn't work the second time when I tried to save it because my mind was so frustrated and scrambled. So my advice would be take a breath, walk away for a minute, get away from it to distance yourself from the frustration. And then once your mind is clear again, come back and try to redo all your work and make sure it's saved this time. And then the gratitude would be, again, the joy of once you actually hit the submit button, when it is all saved and you hit submit, you are so deeply grateful it worked. It's like, oh my gosh, now I can go eat some more ice cream and celebrate, right? Like, go me. I hit the submit button and it worked. So being proud of yourself, being proud of your stick-to-itness.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, and those darn computers, man. I swear.
Been there, done that.
Yep. And that leads us up to our last one, number 5. A close friend cancels on a much-needed social outing at the last minute.
Oh, I've had this too before. So my first reaction is to be mad at the friend, and I literally thought this. Do you not know how much I needed this? Well, clearly they didn't.
Yeah.
So again, just to acknowledge I'm frustrated, I'm sad, I'm disappointed, and I feel let down by that friend, even though the friend didn't do it intentionally.
Mm.
And then the next thought is, this is what I did not do. How can I use this time wisely?
Mm.
The grit would be, how can I use this time wisely? What I did do in that real life situation was sit at home and feel sorry for myself. She didn't know how bad I needed this.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm feeling even worse. And so that made me feel worse and spiral down. What I wish I had done, and the grit would be, feel the sadness, feel the disappointment, and then say, okay, how can I use this time?
Yeah.
So the gratitude is, be grateful for your trust in yourself, because you felt the disappointment. You said, okay, now how can I use this time? So you believed in yourself that you could use that time in a healthy, useful way.
Ooh, I love that. And I think that's going to help out a bunch of people. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been both that friend that had to cancel and the friend that needed the outing.
100%. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Laura. Well, with that being said, thank you for playing our first round of Life Gauntlet. But I want to let you know that you have earned yourself the honorary title of the Architect of Resilient Movement for Retrieving Sanity. So,
Thank you.
thank you for that. Of course. Thank you for playing. And I have one last question for you this evening, if you've got enough energy in you.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Laura, the name of this podcast is Retrieving Sanity, and we explore how all facets of living life impact mental health. Looking at the incredible motley adventures of your life, what does retrieving sanity personally mean to you today? And what's one practice or perspective you believe is crucial for anyone on that journey?
To know and trust that I am enough. And for others listening to know that they're enough. And here's the reason I say that. To me, retrieving our sanity again goes back to validating our humanness and validating our feelings, and know that we're enough to keep going, that we're worthy to keep going, even in the midst of the anxiety, the depression, all the mental struggles that we experience.
Yeah. Thank you for that reminder. And I have to agree that I wish that we all just could accept our humanness and each other's humanness. Laura, real quick, where can everyone find you again if they're looking for your kind of coaching services?
So the best place is my website. LauraBratton.com has all the information on buying the book, the coaching, speaking, connecting with me. All the resources are on my website.
Gotcha. I think that is going to be an amazing book for anyone that has read it. And I just looked at the cover, and what's the dog's name?
So that was my second guide dog, and her name was Betty.
Oh, Betty. Oh, she looks awesome. So which guide dog do you got now?
So she passed away about a year ago, and I haven't gotten another one since then.
No.
So I don't have one now.
Oh no. I'm so sorry to hear that.
She was wonderful. And true story, she was named after Betty White. Or in honor of Betty White.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you for putting her on the cover of the book so that she can be spread with the world, because I know that she helped you along, and it's going to help other people catch the cover of the book and be like, ooh, I need to read that book to figure out what that dog was up to.
100%. Be focused on the dog, not on me.
But with that being said, Laura, thank you very much for being on Retrieving Sanity. And I just got to say, I'm highly inspired, and I know that our audience is going to be as well, because holy cow, you've got one heck of a message, and it's something that we all need to hear from time to time, and just remember that it's okay to be human.
Thank you for the gift of being here, and for the gift of this platform, the message that you're putting out into the world.
Of course. And it's thanks to wonderful people like you that have been through it, that are willing to share their stories and how everything it turned out, that this is even possible in the first place. So I just got to say thank you again, and everyone out there, Thank you for listening to Retrieving Sanity on WDJY 99.1 FM. This has been Keegan and this has been Laura, and we will see y'all on the next episode. But you've got to remember to try to love yourself, love others if you can, and you've got to love yourself first. But if you've got a mental health crisis, you can go ahead and dial 988. See y'all next week. Much love. Much love.